Goes topic speaking. I mean, yeah, let's talk about
Stop
today.
it.
Today we're gonna go
Yo.
topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
Hey, Kevin, do you want some lasagna?
Basically like a barrel.
I made lasagna.
What?
I made lasagna.
Who's Tanya?
What?
What?
Kevin, do you want some lasagna?
You stepped in what?
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 What? What?
I made lasagna.
Tomorrow is mañana.
What?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? TGIF. It is Friday and Thanksgiving long weekends here. I certainly hope everybody's got some plans, as modest or as small the plans may be. Hopefully you get some time to spend with family during these times. So before we get to the weekend, before I can send you off, we've got a really cool one ahead of us today on this Sirius XM Connected lunchtime learning session. We're going to be talking about Blam audio. That's right, Blam, just like that, B-L-A-M, Blam. Have you heard of it? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. If you're going to watch and stay with us, we're going to learn all about this brand from France that specializes in high-end car audio loudspeakers. Now, the man behind it, he's a little bit of a legend in the game, and we're going to learn about him as well because you've seen in the logo, his name is mentioned, Luc Bonneville. I had the opportunity to speak with Luc and get to know him, but today we're going to talk to their Canadian and actually I should say North American counterpart and representatives over at Mobile Solutions of America /Canada. So if we're talking to MSC, let's go over to their, I don't even know if they're in Calgary or in Phoenix today. We're going to find out. I do know who the guest is, and that is, of course, my man, Chris Van Rye. What's going on, Chris?
Living the dream, Ben. How are you?
Living the dream as usual, sir. So I wasn't sure because we've been to Arizona, we've been to Calgary. The backgrounds kind of look the same. I don't even know where you are. Where are you?
Today we're in Calgary, so we're at the Retail Production Center.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, so Blam. Today's about Blam. It's a high-end car audio speaker line, right?
Yep.
We had the chance to touch base with Luc. Back when was that? I guess that was in the spring during our industry weekend. So I learned a lot, but I wanted to take this opportunity with you today, Chris, so we could reintroduce the line to our Canadian listeners, our dealers who may be looking for that, higher end option. It's relatively new to the industry as far as if you look at the overall timeline, and there's a lot of exciting news coming out of it. So hopefully you can help us with that. I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with Guy and his brand here. Guy started out in this business way back, going back to the early 80s when he owned his own retail center. As time went on, he wasn't happy with the offerings that were out there from car manufacturers, guys that were dedicated to kind of getting into this industry. So he came up with a idea of taking high-end home drivers from another famous French manufacturer, and installing those, just moving to a much better quality component than what we were typically seeing in the industry at the time. So as he was having really good success with this, as time went on, the manufacturer actually kind of stepped back and said, hey, okay, so who's buying all these raw drivers and what on earth is he doing with them? So the owner of the company actually went down, found a shop, took some time and saw what was going on and said, wow, there's obviously demand for products that are better than what the industry is presenting right now. So why don't you come join us and help us develop a program specifically for this aspect of the audio industry? So Guy left his shop and went and joined and became product development manager for the 12-volt program, which he spent almost 2.5 decades doing, developing some of the industry's most respected components for a very long time and building that up from the ground to one of the, like I said, one of the most respected manufacturers in our industry. So a pretty cool journey for him to go that way and have the opportunities to develop from a totally different standpoint of, as opposed to adapting to the 12-volt environment, which is what a lot of manufacturers were doing, to building specifically with parameters in mind for the application that they're going to be used in.
Yeah, two things I really respect about that whole, well, Guy as a person and such a unique individual within our industry is, he was car audio from day one. You know what I mean? He was trying to make it work. He knew what he wanted to get to. He had a clear vision for the destination. He was just trying to figure out how to get there. And on that journey, you just described what happens next. And, anybody who's committed that kind of time to our industry, deserves that recognition. But now he's gone off. He's created his own brand. Right, in Blam. You saw that video in the beginning of the of our intro here. That's a snapshot of their facility in France.
Correct.
Some of the higher end models being assembled right there in that factory. So I mean, there's a great story behind it. Let's talk a little bit about MSC and Blam in North America.
So when Guy decided to step back from his previous post, he knew that this is where he wanted to go. He wanted to be able to kind of take and explore. Where this whole thing started, when I look back at Guy's story, is he was thinking outside the box. He knew there was something possible and was willing to explore and try some different things to get there. That's exactly what has happened since he stepped out on his own. Is 2 decades plus of experience building some wild stuff, but due to other limitations, he wasn't able to fully explore everything that he wanted to try out there. So in 2011, he stepped back from the company. In 2013, he launched Blam, Bonneville Labs, and more. This was his first foray out, and he came out swinging with 2 different lines up in the series, or 2 different series in the line, sorry. And once he was starting to get those off production lines, the first thing that he did was reach out to us here, Mobile Solutions of Canada, and asked if, hey, this is something that I'm doing. What would your guys' interest level be in being a part of that? And of course, knowing Guy for as long as we had and having his experiences and being with him along the ride for a lot of that stuff, we were all over it. So he started shipping over a handful of his pre-production samples and prototypes and all that kind of stuff. He made the trip out to introduce us to the story and the theories and how he's doing things and why he's making the decisions he's making. And we were absolutely enthralled, totally ecstatic with what was about to happen. So we started distributing that through our retail side, just through our own retail customers, our own systems, to really get a handle on the products, make sure that they were going to really represent what we were looking for in a product as well. We spent about 1.5 years through the retail side dealing with these products before we brought it to the Canadian marketplace as a whole through the Mobile Solutions of Canada brand. And from that point, it was just full throttle all the way up. And then when we launched into the US side of things, when we brought MSC America out almost 4 years ago now, there was a no-brainer that this was coming with us, and we were absolutely just so pumped to be representing this line across the board. So
yeah, that's a really nice story. And MSC, anybody who knows and has seen your portfolio, you're dealing with some pretty top-notch stuff. It's kind of your DNA, right? It's all you're all about. So it's great, being who you are and what you've done kind of gets you in the club. But now we're talking about, does it perform? Does it meet the criteria that you guys are looking for? And I'd like to, let's dive into some of this breakout of the product so we could better understand what exactly the line represents.
Yeah, so Guy's done a great job of hitting a lot of different niches throughout the range. He covers off everything from OEM type replacement, kind of the entry level aspects of the industry, all the way up into some seriously cool flagship type products. So the first products that we look into in the line, we come into what's called the Express series. This guy here, we've got a coaxial and a component version. Both are available 6.5, so designed for that most common size that we're seeing in a lot of cars, everything from Japanese domestic and European manufacturers. We're able to adapt these guys in here. And he's maintained a really common theory across the board, is that he's looking at more than just the actual components or the drivers themselves. It's how are they going to be used in the application? So one of the biggest things that we see, even starting from this here Express line, is that we're going to be getting into things like high efficiency 2-ohm drivers. So the lower impedance allows us to go through and really integrate these into a lot of these systems and make sure that we're getting the best possible performance out of the audio system at the end when everything is in place. So from nice small footprint tweeters that fit into factory locations. And then he's got a beautiful driver that was developed. So this was actually originally designed as the previous generation Relax, which was one of the best value price point speakers on the market. It absolutely took on everything in its category and well above.
I'm going to interject for a second, Chris. Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you starting from the bottom up? This is the entry level?
This is the entry. Yeah, this is the starting point. So
wow.
These are totally bespoke designs. Nice, simple stamp basket on these, keeps it light, keeps it cost effective. The big key with all of this, the first two series, the Express and the Relax, is about efficiencies, making sure that we don't need a ton of power to drive these components, make sure that we don't need big amplifiers. If we're integrating these in with just an aftermarket head unit or even a factory system, we've got something that's going to give the best output. It's going to give great bass response. It's going to be clean, clear, and well detailed, and give that kind of Blam experience, even without having to spend and get up into the bigger, higher price points.
Okay, so that is called the Express line.
Correct. Yeah. So
now,
Express.
As far as sizing, you mentioned it. This is really compatible with many different scenarios. This is coaxial and separates.
Correct.
Combined. Okay. Are these available as separates, or they're packaged as a kit?
They are packaged as a kit. So
okay,
you're going to get
crossover.
Exactly. So in the component system, you're going to get your tweeter, your mid-bass driver, and then you're going to get a cap for the tweeter as well. Obviously, the coax, not a whole lot to worry about for extra components on that side of things.
Okay. A couple of questions I have for you. On the coax side of things, are the tweeters adjustable? Are they already stationary? What is
so they're a fixed mount tweeter on there. The off-axis response works really well on those guys there. In most applications, they're going to be used as a rear fill-up on a rear deck, firing off the back windshield, or focused towards rear seat passengers in a backseat of a pickup truck or a sedan or something like that. So
I'm happy Vanna brought back that tweeter. That was a question that I had. What is the specs on this tweeter? Material, size, so on?
So these guys are a soft silk dome tweeter on them. Diaphragm is just under an inch. It's about 0.8 inch diaphragm on those guys. One of the big aspects is making sure that you can integrate these in. A lot of the manufacturers, when they're designing, they build a nice tweeter, but they haven't factored in that it doesn't fit in a lot of the locations that we're dealing with. So many of these cars are getting so low profile in terms of their mounts, their shapes, where everything's going. Having a small tweeter that actually fits is as important as a speaker that actually performs well.
Very cool. So that's the Express line.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and then from there we move into the Relax series. This is kind of the bread and butter on the entry level side. So this is a full range. So all the speaker sizes and components and coax. So this is the 6.5 inch here. This is the 165 RC. Still carries that nice Driven by Passion badge at the bottom, the Blam badge up at the top. So you've got still that same nice touchy-feely aspect as you get in the higher end products. Composite basket on these guys here, so better damp than you get with a stamp basket, but still helps keep the speaker cost effective. Tons of ventilation on these guys, also a low impedance driver, so that we're going to get great output off of small amplifiers or non-amplified systems where we're just using the radio or factory type systems. The coax is available in the whole gamut of sizes, everything from 4, 5, 6 inch rounds, 5x7 and 6x9s as well. So
okay.
this is a completely rounded out package on this side of things. Even the little things, I love that he's carried through what you see on a lot of the products is the little polished ring around the outside of the tweeter. Just makes these things feel like a special speaker. It's not just another basic little package. This is something that's been engineered from the ground up to give you the listening experience and the ownership experience that you want to have when you're looking at premium products.
A couple key things I want to point out here that I'm noticing. I'm happy you pointed out that ring. That's a nice little touch, that little honeycomb signature weave on the grill over the tweeter. I noticed also the detail of the logo, the slogan on the bottom, the logo on the top. Oh, wow, I didn't notice that. But even on this basket, the logo is stamped, which is something that you'll never see once it's installed. But at the moment of purchase or sale, I mean, these are key things, right? Very important.
Very important. The other nice thing when you see something like that is you've got a basket that is actually built specifically for the speaker.
For that wasn't just
Guy
off
has
the shelf and match it, right?
Exactly. Right. This isn't just a shopping list into a Chinese factory. This is Guy, even in a product like Relax, where and we see the same thing on the stamped basket in the Express line. But all of these products are designed by Guy specifically for his application that he's designing in the moment.
Oh, two more questions I have for you, Chris. So I noticed on that box are there different tweeter mounts that come in the kit?
Yeah, so they come with a couple different mounts. So you've got which you can see in that picture there is the surface mount cup, and then there is the little bullet. So if you're doing a surface mount to an 8-hill or something like that, you need a cost-effective way to get those on axis. Those little bullets are actually included with the kit. Oh, so they've got the angled back on them. Got a nice shape and a nice texture to it. They're finished in a beautiful soft rubber touch like you see on a lot of the newer European cars on their buttons and switches. So even in the Relax line, you're getting something that's going to give a really nice blend into the automotive environment it's being installed into.
I noticed both in the Express and the Relax, they're both using butyl rubber surrounds around the cone. Yep. The cone material, are they similar or how do they differ?
Materials, they are both rubber surrounds, as you noticed with those guys. All of them are tweaked slightly. So we're going to look at different radiuses on the actual surrounds themselves. Obviously, they're going to be built for higher excursion on the Relax over the Express side of things.
More power handling too, right? I'm guessing. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we go from about 50 watts RMS on the Express line. A little bit higher, we go to about 60, 65 watts. And the big key isn't just that we get good power handling out of these guys, but we're talking north of 90 dB efficiencies on all of these drivers as well. So we're looking at something that even with 60 watts can really get rowdy in the car and have a lot of fun.
Like
the
a
coax
Match 10.
Sorry?
Like a Match 10 maybe.
Just like that. One of the big things that I really like about the design aspects of these guys here is when you look at the side profile, you can't actually see the tweeter. This whole system is flush so that when we're dealing with cars that have low mounting depth, we don't have a tweeter that's protruding a ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch beyond that now becomes a depth problem. So all of this stuff was designed to be totally flush, totally flat, so that you don't have to worry about low profile grills and doors.
I like the bridge where the terminals are too. Very steady, sturdy rather.
Yeah, those are hard mounted to the actual basket for them. So those terminal cups, there's no risk of bending and snapping off or anything like that. So you're getting a really high quality speaker at a pretty reasonable price point.
Yeah, very, very cool. Thank you, Vanna. Good job. Let's keep it going.
So from there, the Relax line isn't just speakers. He's also got a series of amplifiers designed to go with it. All of these guys are Class D amplification, full range for 2-channel, 4-channel, and then a couple of different mono amplifiers to go with it. Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
Whoa, hold on, stop. What just happened? Wait a minute. Back up. Blam has amplifiers?
Blam has amplification as well. So we do a ton of these little guys. Great performance for dollar ratio on these guys. Incredibly small footprint. So when we're looking at these new cars that we're dealing with, we've got a Tacoma here that we're actually working on in the shop right now. JBL system's got the sub box and everything in the back, and there's almost 0 square inches of available space to mount amplifiers. So going to a traditional Class AV 4-channel, the 12 by 12 box or something like that, it almost becomes impossible to get these things into these cars. So small footprint amplifiers make all the difference in the world. The cool thing about these guys, like this is the RA251, 250 watt RMS monoblock. Both the mono amplifiers, the 251 and the 501, the 500 watt variant, come with the sub-level control in the box. So we were talking about products that are designed from the ground up for their application. These amplifiers that come with both high level and low level inputs on them, they've got your crossovers, they've got your sub-level control. You've got an entire package all here. It's not a bunch of extra components or other products that you need to stock, extra SKUs for the system to worry about. Everything is included because any of us know that having control over that subwoofer level is hugely important to the day-to-day use of that thing. The vast majority of clients are going to want that little extra ability to control the bass on the fly. He knows that, and that's why we get those things included in the packaging.
Okay, questions. Number one, what is the breakout of the models for the amplifiers?
So we've all our RA models. There's a 754, which is a 75 watt 4-channel amplifier. We've got the 120.2, which is the 120 watt 2-channel. And then there's a 251 and a 501 monoblocks, 250 watts, 500 watts RMS, respectively. So 4 amplifiers cover off a ton of different configurations in there. So all depending on what you're looking to power with it, there's lots of versatility in the system.
Are there in and outs on these? So you could go from like the 4-channel, cross it over, and then go to like the sub, or no? Or
no, these guys are all inputs, no DSP based, just nice,
No
simple
DSP
amplification.
Okay.
Simple, clean cut. We partner a lot of these with DSP based amplifiers.
Would you recommend a brand of DSP that would go well with this?
Our retail side of things, and obviously we represent the Audio Tech Fisher line of products that we do a ton of on the DSP side of things, and we do a lot of these little RA amplifiers paired with those, whether we're using it as a separate mono amplifier, whether using a nice, simple little configuration where we're using standalone DSP, but we need something that we can hide in these cars. The Blam amplifiers offer a really strong complement in a lot of applications.
Nice solution fix too, like for space, especially. I've got a question coming in. Wow, I believe this gentleman is tuning in from South Africa, but he's got a great question. Do these amplifiers have GTO circuitry?
So GTO is a proprietary technology for the guys at Audio Control. So no, we're not using GTO on those guys. The system does have an automatic turn-on circuit available for it that's built right into it. It has a traditional remote trigger as well. So that's with the integration side of things. Any modern amplifier, those are standard features that are just absolutely required in modern vehicles. So making sure that you can do that stuff is absolute necessity.
Just to prepare myself so I'm not freaking out on screen, is that the only series of amplifiers, or do we go higher than that?
That is the only series of amplifier at the moment, yeah.
Very good. All right.
So as we move up from there, we get into the live series. So this is a really, really fun product to look at across the board. So these guys here, this is the step up from the Relax. This kind of gets into the middle series. They do, in this case, you're looking at the L165P, which is called the Power Series. So in the live line, the thing that makes it so unique is that we've actually got 3 separate voicings of speakers in this series, all targeted with different frequency response to give us highlights in certain areas of the music that we're listening to. So the P that we were just looking at on there was the Power Series. The next one in there is the acoustic line. So when I talk about voicing of the speakers, the packaging kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. So with these parameter changes, the voicing of the speaker allows us to focus in, like I said, on certain aspects of certain kinds of music. The acoustic is targeted directly for natural style music. So whether we're listening to acoustic guitars, stand-up bass, real instruments, stuff that is absolutely organic, dealing with natural harmonics. The acoustic series gives us that kind of a focus. The Power, the first one we were looking at in there, goes the other way, higher excursion, higher power handling, with more energy put into the impactful frequency range. So a little bit lower punch out of it to give us more focus into hip hop, R&B, EDM kinds of music that allows us to really hone in on the fun factor of electronic aspects. The other side is we get what's called LSQ. This is designed to give you that warm 80s vinyl kind of a sound, something really smooth, really natural to listen to. This is the starting point in the live series. This comes in the all black finish that you can see. So as opposed to the machine ring around the outside, this is a pure black ring on it. Phase plug has been removed on this one to help give us a little bit better low frequency extension, a little bit lower resonance frequency on this guy. The tweeter carries across basically the same across all 3 speakers. So all the changes happen in the mid-bass driver. Nice black housing on that one. Again, this tweeter comes with a couple different mounting options in the box. So when you're integrating into the car, you've got some versatility on the fly too.
Curious, because of it, a little bit less bling bling, does it also affect the price as well?
So no, there is a price point that varies between them. A lot of the products are available in either silver or black finishes.
Okay.
So depending on which you'd like,
right.
Exactly. So the dealer themselves can carry which ones are more preferential to to their clients and kind of what they're looking for. When we've got a lot of systems that are being integrated into factory locations, a lot of our consumers and dealers are wanting something that hides in behind the grill, that just disappears. On the other side, some of the more energetic speaker lines, we actually have the ability, or with that machine finish, it actually highlights that. So if it's through the grill, you can start to see some of those aspects. The power is super popular because it also highlights that aluminum phase plug that's integrated into the speaker as well.
I remember having this conversation with Guy, and he was like, there was so many different ways to phrase what he was trying to achieve with these different voicings.
Yeah.
Ended up being this way from a communication marketing perspective. But what he was saying is like, Blam sells all over the world, and there are tendencies, there are trends, by regions. He's like, in England, they like this kind of sound, and in Italy, they may like this sound, and in North America, they may like this kind of sound, but it didn't make sense to do it geographically, so that's what he came up with. But what I'm getting at is he recognizes that there are different voicings for different type of customers, and he wanted to really put that in the forefront with this line right here.
That's exactly it. Is every area in the world has a preferential sound. We see the same kind of thing when we look at home audio amplification. You look at amplifiers that come out of the UK, they have a very particular sound. They're very warm, lots more bottom end, very smooth on the top end. And when you've got somebody who's experienced or gets to play around with that kind of stuff, you find out where your preferences lie very quickly. And that's not something that's really been attacked in the car audio market. And that was one thing that Guy really wanted to do, was touch on these things, because we've all got, we hear the same way, but how our brains interpret that and what's appealing changes from person to person. So he wanted to have something in a similar category, kind of that step up price range, that was going to allow people to really tailor their systems without having to do it through digital signal processing and trying to make it what they want it to be, when you can have it done upfront in a system that does it a lot more naturally. The other side of things, so we've got the 3 different series in the Live, but the other aspect is he's really done a great job of giving us a lot of variety in terms of integrating those systems into different cars. Tweeter 6-inch fits in a lot of different applications, but as we're looking at step-up cars with step-up audio systems being designed for them, we need more versatility. So he's also got in the Live series a 2-inch wideband type mid-range. We've got 3-inch wideband type mid-range. We've got a 3-inch dedicated mid-range, the range of 6-inch mid-bass drivers, and then he's also got a monster 8-inch 2-ohm 150 watt RMS mid-bass driver to go along with it as well. So you can actually go through when you're designing these systems and custom build for the package that or for the vehicle that you're building the package for.
Very nice for bespoke active applications, right? I mean, was that 2.5 midlers that I just heard?
Correct. Yeah, so there's a 2-inch and a 3-inch midler, wideband, whatever you want to call it, and then a dedicated 3-inch mid-range. So if you've got a vehicle that's got that center channel, if you've got a vehicle, a lot of the newer GM products, and Subarus and Toyotas are using just that mid-range high-frequency driver. Exactly. So we need to have solutions that are going to allow us to upgrade those and give us the performance that we're looking for. So he's got those available, but then you can still go through if you want to do a custom build, or you're dealing with a 3-way system in the car. You've got a dedicated mid-range and standalone tweeter available for it as well. So you've really got a lot of versatility to work with in that Live series, between sizing and then the different voicings of what's possible with the acoustic.
Sounds like you could do it. Sounds like you could do a 4-way.
You could if you wanted to. Go totally nuts.
Yeah, that's what you do. Isn't that what MSC does? Go nuts.
That's what we do. And then he's also got a
channel active that all for the front end.
Well, that's why we've got 12 channel amplifiers to do that with too.
12 channel. There you go.
The other cool thing is the Live series also has a range of subwoofer to go along with it. So you've got an 8-inch and a 10-inch dual 2-ohm subwoofer with the package as well. That's voiced with that.
We don't happen to have one of those handy, do we?
I don't have one of those guys handy. No.
We'll have to go to the website, guys. We're gonna send you there in a second. All right. Man, Ashwin's on fire. Another question for you.
Yeah.
Going back to those small amplifiers, you got it's curiosity peak. Do they have variable crossovers, or are they predefined?
Crossovers on those guys are fixed.
They are fixed, ready to go. Okay. All right. So, Live, full range. You've got 3 different voicings on component sets. You've got 2 inchers, 3 inchers, 8 inchers, and subwoofers, a 10 and a 12.
8 and a 10.
Sorry, an 8 and a 10. And are those, are they 2-ohm, 4-ohm available, or what's the impedance?
Dual 2-ohm on those guys.
Dual 2-ohms on those guys. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So the Live series, really cool, really well rounded out on that side of things, but that's what takes us into the real fun stuff. So from there, we moved back to the Made in France products in the Signature series.
Okay. Ooh.
Carbon fiber cones.
Hold on, Chris. This deserves a little bit more full screenage. Wait a second here. We need to see this jewelry here. All right, there we go.
So carbon fiber cones across the board on these guys. So this is the 6.5 inch component for the mid-bass driver. That's from the 165/80 set, 80 millimeter magnet on that guy. These guys are completely bespoke cast baskets. You can actually see the twisting kind of aerodynamic shape that he's got designed and engineered for these. The Signature line was what he had in mind when he launched Blam. This was the dream. He had this running in the background of his mind for years and years and needed to be able to bring this out. So he spent a handful of years developing this as the Blam line was coming to market, knowing that this was going to be where it lands. So the Signature S165/80, that one right in front of you there, aluminum face plug, carbon cone, rubber surrounds, absolutely stunning driver. Again, nice low impedance on these ones. Make sure you're getting great power out of your amplification. North of 93 dB efficiency on these things, so phenomenal output even with modest power. There's also a matching coaxial equivalent as well. So this uses the same magnet and motor structure, but integrates the tweeter into the front instead of the face plug. Soft dome tweeter on all of these guys as well for both these pairs. So really cool step into the front. Again, beautiful terminals, hard mounted in. These guys are screw mount on them. So you're going to get a good serviceable mount on them. So when the car ever has to get brought in for service, whether it goes to the dealer or anything like that, you're not cutting off soldered terminals and expecting somebody to deal with that. You've got something that's easily adjustable on that. Beautiful packaging. I love the all black look on these ones. Ties in with the carbon and the black cones and all that kind of stuff. Most importantly, though, is that right there, the Made in France. All of the Signature series, everything from the tweeters, the crossovers, every mid-bass driver, every mid-range is all made in-house in France. That was what was in the video we saw at the beginning.
First of all, you had me at carbon fiber, just so that's the first part. The second part is, wow, a significant size increase on the magnet side of things. No doubt about that. Yeah, and the packaging is really nice. That spot varnish black on matte black back is always a winner for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about that cast bass. That is definitely a signature design, that whole twisting kind of look to it.
Yeah.
Very, very unique to Blam, a very signature, for lack of a better word, for that. What is the range on this line?
In terms of drivers?
Offerings, yes.
Yeah, so this line is huge. So we're looking at a couple of what we call the kit format version. So this is a tweeter 6-inch with crossovers. There's a low profile variant as well, low profile 45 millimeter magnet. So neo magnet on that guy, the coaxial equivalent. And then there's a 4-inch as well. So the 4-inch is really cool. It actually comes with the mounts for all of the newer BMW and Mercedes products. So it allows you to actually use those factory mounts in those applications, but can also be used in a universal platform as well. So he's giving you a few extra pieces along the way to make sure that you can really integrate that into the different aspects of where that kit is designed.
Did you say that there are two versions, one with a neo magnet with this slimmer profile?
Yes, yeah, so different cone on it, still carbon of course, but doesn't use the phase plug, carbon dust cap on that guy, but it gives you a lower profile mount for some of the vehicles where depth is an issue.
Interesting. I don't know of any other situation where I've heard that, where the
there's
same
not
driver is available in two different configurations of magnet.
Yep. So with these guys, the first couple that we were looking at, so those are the kit format versions. We're super excited to freshly launch a la carte program for the Signature Series products. So in the past, as with most manufacturers, we're left looking at packages where you're buying this kit or you're buying that kit, and that's kind of it. We've seen a ton of demand for people looking to tailor these for the projects that they're working on, whether they need 2-way, 3-way, do they need a mid-range driver, do they need a middler, do they need an 8-inch mid-bass? We were trying to accommodate, but it became too much of a challenge for everybody to try and manage all the different bits and pieces and what they had in stock and which one they needed to swap it out for. So we sat down with Guy, and we've been working on this for about a year now, and we've just about to launch this here in Canada. This is a full a la carte program. So it's going to be as simple as pick your tweeter, pick your mid-range, pick your mid-bass, pick your crossover. You're going to be able to cherry pick exactly what you want, just like a buffet. But now
Sushi menu, Chris.
Sushi menu. There you go. So now you're going to be able to go through and absolutely tailor this to the exact project that you're working for. Whether you need the smaller, low-profile TS20 tweeter, whether you want to step up into something like these guys here. So this is the Signature Multi-X magnesium tweeter and soft dome tweeter. So the magnesium is on the left. You can kind of see the color in the diaphragm on that guy. And then on the right side is the soft dome variant. So both of these guys. Can you do the
side profile of that, please? I thought that really caught my eye. Yeah, that's nice. Machine nut, eh? Look at that.
So the actual casing for it is threaded. So it's a nice, simple, absolutely rock solid mechanical mount on these guys here. So you can go through and flush these in. You can see the nice little polished aluminum ring around the outside edge to give you a nice finish to integrate into. Again, these cars, these are premium products. These are going to be the things that need to blend into Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, all of that kind of stuff. Because they're using those materials, they have to be integrated into the system.
Hey, quick shout out to Brian Schmidt over at Mobile Solutions. Apparently, according to him, these are 3-thumb good products.
3 thumbs. He had to get extra hands to do that one. Yeah, Appreciate it, Brian. This is a really cool one here. So this is pure magnesium dome tweeter. As you can see on the front, 70 millimeter outside diameter, help push any structure reflections off the baffle as far as possible. High res platform on this one. This tweeter here plays up to 43 kilohertz. So when you've got a client who is looking for high res capability of his system, we see a ton of clients that are listening to high-res audio in their home audio systems. They've got the material, they've got the albums in that format, and they want to be able to enjoy that in the car. So they want to be able to have a complete high-res system. So most, if not all of these products are technically high-res compatible and exceeding 40K on the top end. All of them are going to play. Our lowest tweeter in the Signature line still exceeds beyond 27 kilohertz. Once we got our tweeter picked, the first question, now we move to the mid-range side of things. What do we want to tie in there? So this is the MS355. This is the dedicated mid-range for it. You still get the exact same design concept on these guys. You're getting that bespoke, twisted basket, that same design that you see on the 6-inch drivers. We're still getting the carbon cone on these guys. They are still made in France. But now you get to go through and pick. This is being the dedicated mid-range side of things. There's also the FRS 3N50, which is the wideband equivalent. Very similar, except for a couple of key differences. One, the aluminum phase plug on the front help deal with off-axis response at high frequencies. This guy here, because of the lighter cone as well, extends even higher into the frequency range. This driver here on axis will play north of 30K. So absolutely wild products on that side of things, but super cool stuff.
Very nice. I'm really feeling that whole sushi menu. You know, when you're talking about building multi-channel active systems at this level, this opens up such a lateral flexibility for builders, for installers, for fab, you know, based on the environment they're working in. They can now optimize that space, right, to present the ultimate final setup.
Yeah, and when you're talking about ultimate final setup, when you've got exceptional components that just aren't going to cut it, we've got a whole another step above.
Oh, we're not even there yet?
No. So this gets us into the first of the multi-X products that we're going to talk about here. A couple of key differences that you can see right away is we've gone away from the silver finish and moved to a bronze finish. That is a very significant step in cosmetic change, and for very good reason. The cone is very similar, but what happens when we get to the backside? We move to the multi-neo magnet structure. So now instead of the one larger ferrite magnet, this allows a couple of major benefits. The first, neodymium magnets, substantially stronger, roughly 7 times the strength of a standard ferrite magnet. So significantly more motor structure energy available on that side of things. The next aspect that's huge for a good chunk of our clients, because we are all car audio guys, we like to listen loud in our cars. That's the best part about it, is when we look at that magnet structure, we can actually see straight through into the voice coil. Because of all of that space, we get incredible cooling to that voice coil.
Ventilation, yeah.
Exactly. Get better transients out of it so that when we're pushing that driver hard, we're getting everything that we want, and that voice coil can stay cool and keep performing as expected.
I have to put this up. Somebody just made a comment. Do you know about this term? The Blam clam?
The Blam cam.
Oh, the cam. I saw you said clam. Yeah, I love the Blam cam. There you go.
You got to have the Blam cam. That's the only way you see the good stuff.
There it is.
So,
oh, sorry, I didn't have enough of that. Could we bring that back?
Well,
That
we'll
last
come back and
Okay.
touch on that one again in a little bit here. So
Perfect.
that's the mid-range side of things. So you've picked your tweeter, you've picked your mid. Now let's pick your woofer. We've got a range of different products in here. So this one here is the 165.100. So even bigger magnet structure than we saw on the previous mid-range. Still keeps the same basket, but bigger magnet, bigger motor structure on this one, higher power handling, more energy, more excursion. This is the big boy as far as the 6 inches go. Lots of excursion.
Looks like an 8.
It is a absolute monster. So this one here, we do a lot of as our 3-way mid-bass driver. So guys that are looking to have a 6-inch, but partner it with that mid-range along the way, this gives you that really high energy that you're looking for to fill out the bottom end and help bring that subwoofer up to the front of the car.
Very nice.
So as we move up from there, you made a mention that one looked like an 8-inch. Well, we actually do have a signature 8-inch as well.
There you go. Beef.
So this one is dedicated mid-bass. This thing is all about getting down and absolutely rocking your chest, making you feel this thing. Same 100mm magnet on the backside of it, same bespoke basket design on it, carbon cone all the way through. This thing we have run wide open on the bottom end, no high pass crossover in a ton of applications where subwoofers weren't an option, and it does incredibly well. Rated at 100 watts RMS, we typically run between 150 and 200 through this thing and have it just absolutely throttle.
I appreciate the fact that the basket is not too deep on that one as well.
Yeah, Guy did an incredible job. Again, we were talking about designing products for their application. There's companies out there that are building killer 8-inch mid-bass drivers, but if you build something that's 6 inches deep, it doesn't fit in a car door anymore. So these guys here, I mean, it's still an 8, it's still a big driver, but minimizing that kind of an impact is huge.
I should bring back, and Guy will be proud of me for even remembering he said this, but if you can bring back that 8-inch for a second, I want to point something out for our
Got the 8-inch?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Oh, let's grab the 8. Vanna?
Yeah. If you don't mind, just grab the 8-inch and let's look at the basket. And this is my showing off moment. Just
yeah. So
this is my showing
when you look
off
at the
moment.
basket side of things.
Yeah. So check this out. You're talking about that bespoke twisted thing. You know what he said when I asked him why?
What's that?
He said, I want to have maximum rigidity for the frame and the basket. This allows me to optimize material without sacrificing depth.
Yep.
So the same amount, more material, because if you stretch it out, right,
Yep.
you can have more material to stabilize that basket. But by twisting it and putting it off of a center, he's still maximizing the amount of material, but at an overall more shallow fitment.
Yeah, and then he's gone through, because you can see some of the angles that he's using on those things to help keep the aerodynamic aspect. So the sound wave coming off the back of the cone isn't resonating off those legs and firing straight back and causing distortion issues at the cone itself. So
cool.
So those are kind of the normal series 6s, we'll call them, but there's also a multi-X6 to go along with it. So just like you saw with that 3-inch that we were looking at before, we get the bronze finish on the front and we get that big multi-neo magnet structure on the back side of things. So again, same thing, great ventilation, tons of magnetic strength to it. All of that magnetic energy is now focused around the voice coil itself to make sure that linear motion is absolutely perfect. This thing is phenomenal. This gives you enough bandwidth that you can use this in 2-way or 3-way applications. So you got lots to work with there. High efficiency, same thing. All the Signature Series products are all 2 and 3 ohms. So again, that step down impedance, make sure that you can scale up the power coming from your amplification.
That is sweet.
So with that, now, not that we'll dive too far into it, but we've also got the full range of passive crossovers for these guys. So depending on the application, we're getting a demand from clients that are looking for passive crossovers between a tweeter and a mid-range with an active mid-bass partnered with it. We still get the odd request for fully passive 3-way systems in some of the cars and systems that are being designed out there. We wanted to give people the versatility to completely customize from the top down. So we have high pass, low pass, 2-way, 3-way crossovers, all kinds of different versatility to allow you to customize your system and take that tweeter, mid-range, and mid-bass and adapt it all together.
It's a pretty looking crossover.
Yeah, they do a pretty cool job. Guy does a lot of different stuff in terms of whether they need to be low profile, inline cap style systems, or getting up into the nice glass top full passives as well. So all of these guys, like I said, this is an a la carte program, so you're going to be able to go through and cherry pick exactly what you need. You're going to get exactly what you're using. The client isn't paying for parts that are going to either sit in a box in their basement for all eternity, or stuff that's going to get left behind in the technician's toolbox or anything like that. So buy what you need, pick your tweeter, pick your mid-range, pick your mid-bass, crossover if you need it, and deliver the best package absolutely possible.
Very, very cool. Is there anything else coming on the Blam Cam?
The Blam Cam is out. That's
you,
kind of the range and the hardware across the whole brand and the beliefs that's going on with it there. So,
all right. So let's recap. If I counted correctly, that was 5 different series. You want to recap that for us at the entry?
Yeah. So we've got the Express on the entry level side of things. That's your kind of direct OEM replacements, your modest upgrades for factory blown speakers, that kind of stuff. That first tier into better audio. The Relax is where the real bread and butter kicks in. That's got the full line of all your different sizes, your 4, 5, 6, 5x7, 6x9 in components and coax across the board. We've also got in that series a low profile subwoofer as well. So there's a nice 2-inch deep, 10-inch, 12-inch subwoofer available in single 2-ohm or single 4-ohm as well. So again, lots of versatility to work with when you're designing systems. So Relax is a complete line top to bottom. It's also got the amplification that we were looking at in there as well. 2-channel, 4-channel, and a pair of mono blocks, all with high level and low level inputs, sub-level controlled sub-level included on the mono amplifiers as well. So really, really cool stuff on that side of things. From there, we move up into the Live. That's the series that's got those multiple voicings, something that's tailored for the acoustic music, the EDM kind of music, something that's just warm and natural sounding right smack in the middle. Again, big range, tweeter, 2-inch, 3-inch, 6-inch, wide bands, dedicated mid-range, the 8-inch kit, all of that kind of stuff in that series, plus the 8-inch and 10-inch woofer to go along with it. Then we move up into the signature kit platform, which is going to give you your 6.5-inch component, coax, and then a couple of unique models, the low profile version, and then the 4-inch with the BMW, Mercedes, and universal fitment options as well. And then from there, we move into the signature a la carte program, which is where we see that total customization of being able to tailor your system to exactly what your client's looking for. That's where we get into the multi-X stuff, that multi-neo stuff that is seriously focused on audiophile performance.
That's a pretty darn complete line, if you ask me, Mr. Van Rye.
It's pretty full-fledged. It's the thing I like is that every aspect, no matter where you look, he has kept the same ideas. It's not that he built a really cool, really badass top of the range product, and then he started just stripping features out as you get down to the line. He's carried those same mentalities, the low impedance, keeping efficiencies high, designing systems for their applications. It carries through top to bottom, and because of that, it makes sure that it's got everybody covered off. And like I said, I just can't hone in enough on dealing with systems that are designed specifically for a car, not just speakers that are designed to sound good on a board or measure good or have some cool specs on them. These are things that are designed with our application in mind, and that is an absolute game changer. That's why we've seen such great pickup from our specialty independents. This is a product that is designed for specialty retailers. That's why it's not available online. There is no authorized online retailers. There is no online selling. If you want to get into products that are authentic, that are warranted, that are serviced, that are backed by the manufacturer, and Guy himself, that's why he puts his face on the boxes. That's how strongly he believes in what he's doing. And that's why he believes and is partnered with these specialty independents to make sure that the guy at the end of the day is getting the best possible performance, that we're going to be using best practice installation techniques, that it's going to be going in, set up, tuned, checked, simple stuff like hooking your positive and negative wire up backwards absolutely destroys the performance of an audio system. So that's why we deal exclusively with specialty independent retailers who are going to make sure that that stuff is handled correctly, so that the end use consumer who is parting with their hard-earned cash for one of our speakers is getting exactly what they should be out of the system.
I don't think there's anything more to say than that. That was a brilliant summary of all the reasons why you need to look at the numbers below. Give MSC a call, check out the website, Blam Audio. There's the phone number. Looking for dealers right now. There's some space left, right, around the country for some dealers. Yes.
Yep. We're we aren't one of those companies that's looking for everybody under the sun. We don't want to be in 1,000 storefronts across the country. We want partners and retailers that understand the products, that are doing those best practice techniques like I talked about. It's so much more involved when you're designing an audio system as opposed to just selling boxes. So for us, it's all about making sure that those dealer partners believe in the way the way we think about designing these kinds of systems. So we're always up for a phone call if somebody's interested in the products. But like I said, we're not out chasing, because we're going to find the right guys that are going to do right by the products and share that mentality with us.
Very, very cool. Blam Audio, Chris, thank you so much for sharing all that great information with us today. I'm sure dealers tuning in, either live or on demand, are going to get, it's going to get their gears turning. That's for sure. especially, I'm going to say that the two things that stand out most in my mind is I was not aware that Blam was such a full line with different tiers, right?
Yep.
With a great entry point that's wide as well.
Yep.
But now for the higher end fab guys, the bespoke custom higher end car guys, that whole menu where you could just pick and choose at that level, brilliant.
Yeah, it's a totally different way to think about things, but I mean, that's what we're all about, is trying to find unique aspects and a different take on what everybody else is doing out there, because if we keep sticking to doing the same things over and over again, we're going to be stuck in the same boat for all eternity. So this is how one way that we think we can take things to the next level is by giving the people what they need and exactly what they need.
It's not a bad formula. It's not a bad formula. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thanks for your time, Ben.
Talk to you soon.
See you next time.
So there you have it, guys. Blam Audio, Guy Bonneville out of France, giving you that French sound, as he likes to say, courtesy of the team at MSC. Make sure you check that out. That's all the time we got for today. I hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll be back next week with episodes all week. Of course, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for our CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Till next time, we connect.